Let's see it.
I'm sitting here and I'm about 15 episodes in at this point, right? And I've been talking about all kinds of things. I've been talking about how much I love country music, elements of country music, the songwriting, the lyrical aspects of amazing songwriters, the songs that have meant a lot to me throughout the years, and also deep diving into artists that I truly enjoy and like and want other people to enjoy, and being able to dive into those songs and recommend songs to people. There's one thing that just slipped my mind, and I don't know how it slipped my mind till literally right now when I'm having this realization of sitting here thinking, what's some stuff that I can talk about on the podcast this week, right? What are some things that may or may not be going on in my head? And one thing that slipped my mind somehow, and you're going to look at me. Well, you can't technically look at me because you can't see me face to face, but you're going to give me that side eye regardless and be like, how have you not talked about this? This is so prominent in just the name, the title of your podcast here. And yeah, you're right. Idiotic that I am that I've not mentioned this. And anyways, guys, I've not said a single word. I've mentioned it a couple times in songs and stuff that I really enjoy the aspect of the song, but I've never sat here and had a standalone episode on what I believe to be the best instrument when it comes to traditional country music. And of course, that is opinionated. Some people will say the fiddle, because the fiddle is amazing. I mean, who doesn't love a good fiddle solo? I will not lie to you guys, when I heard Ain't a Train by Cody Jinks the first time and I heard the fiddle solo that was in that song, I was mesmerized. I was absolutely shocked. It's one of my favorite songs, and I love the way that they do it live as well without the fiddle, but it's just that fiddle solo. The reason I mention this is my favorite instrument of all time, and my favorite element of country music from the musical aspect of it is the steel guitar. I know, it's literally the name of the podcast, of the steel guitar, and I have never mentioned it before other than just a few comments I really like how the steel guitar sounds in this, or I love a good steel guitar solo and stuff like that, but I've never sat here and really talked about it. And I would love to do a deep dive history on the steel guitar and talk about it and really learn about it more. But there's one thing that I've always told everybody when I sat down and they asked me, Cole, what makes country music to you? And I'm like, I name a whole bunch of the pillars and the elements and stuff that I've talked to you guys about before, but the steel guitar always seems to be mentioned. I always passively bring it up, and it doesn't matter what conversation. I may not bring up the fiddle. I may not bring up, the southern roots. I will always bring up the steel guitar. And that is because I truly love the sound. Preferably the pedal steel is the one that I'm traditionally known to really like. But, all steel guitars are amazing. And I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, my podcast is named Of the Steel Guitar, and I've never dropped an episode describing or talking about the steel guitar or the history of the steel guitar or anything. And that's something I will do in the future, but I'm going to need a little bit more time, and I'm going to have some time coming up because I am going up to work at another store, and I'll be in a hotel all the time, and I'll have a lot of downtime between, working my butt off. I'm trying to get as many hours in that I can, and I'm looking forward to it, and the people up there, and maybe I'll be able to get one or two of those up there on the podcast to talk country music with me. But that's another story for another day. And I just want to talk about the steel guitar for a little bit. This might be the shortest episode to date because I can't sit here and just fiddle fart around and talk about how much I like the steel guitar because, I mean, I feel like most people do like the steel guitar that do like country music. And you may be asking me, Cole, what is it about the steel guitar that really hits you, right? So, to me, like, you have your rhythm guitar, you have your bass, you have your percussions and stuff. They're all elements of other types of music. And every instrument technically can be used in other arts of music. For instance, like the fiddle, the violin can be used in classical or country. It can be a rock fiddle solo. I know this is going to show the nerdy side off of me, so I apologize. You can imagine me wearing my glasses and like picking up my glasses by the nose piece and like pushing it close to my face and be like, well, technically, I there's an anime that my friend used to make me watch. I know, instant cringe, but there used to be one that my friend used to watch, and one of the intros to it had a fiddle solo in it, and it is the most out there type of like anime ever. And it had a fiddle in it and a trombone. It just works. But one thing I'll say about the steel guitar is it does have its moments in other musics, different genres. But if there's one true thing that I think of when I hear the steel guitar is I think of the blues, I think of folk, and I think of country music. Those three. And if you think about it, truly sit there and ponder on it, those three are so close together. Some will say blues, folk, and country are all in the same circle, I guess, if you really think about it. They'll have their roots in the traditional sense of country music. So the steel guitar has always been one of those things where I'm like, when I hear it, I'm like, I know this is a country song because I hear the steel guitar. And I believe the steel guitar was based out of Hawaii originally, and it was made into Hawaiian music, which, I mean, if anybody's listening to Hawaiian music, that stuff absolutely slaps. It's amazing. It's some good stuff. I really enjoy listening to Hawaiian music because it is soothing. It's like very relaxed. It's almost R&B type relaxing, right? I think of the song like Just Over the Rainbow. Like, hearing it soothes me. And that steel guitar soothes me in country songs. And not only can it be soothing, but it can also have that, like, solo, the individual solos. I was talking about Ain't a Train, right? The steel guitar in Ain't a Train, man, it's so evidently present. And with so much rocking and rolling that's going on in the fiddle solo or whatever, that steel guitar is prominent. You can hear it. And it may just be because my ears pick it up. I imagine like you're sitting there and you're listening to this sound of the steel guitar. And it's got the heartfelt strums. Like, you can hear it. You can hear the soul in it almost. It's kind of a weird aspectical part of music, I guess. You can sometimes hear emotions in instruments, but when it's the steel guitar, I feel like it upholds the pillar of heartbreak for some reason. It's got a sad sound to it sometimes. I'll say majority of the time it has that sad feel to it, and that upholds what I've been talking about in regards to country music. And I don't know, man, there's just something about the steel guitar that I've always appreciated. And when I named my podcast, I was sitting there and I'm like, well, first of all, it's a way that I can talk about the steel guitar, which obviously I failed at here, so my bad, that one's on me, Chief. But I'm sitting here and thinking, alright, Cole, of the steel guitar, so of Mice and Men, um, I will tell you that one of my friends from that I game with online, that is not Josh, she actually recommended of the steel guitar because of Mice and Men, which is a very popular novel here in America, and probably overall in the world. I'm not sure how it's translated because I do have listeners that are from the other side of the world, which absolutely floors me, and I welcome you guys with open arms. I know that country music, especially like traditional country music, may be kind of foreign to you because you're not from America and you may not know what I'm talking about half the time. So it's really insightful to see that there's people from other places in the world that are listening to the podcast, because I can sit here and actually make sure that I talk about and like rationally think about and explain what is going on with the music, so you guys can have not just a better grasp into country music in regards to like music, but also from like a America standpoint, like an American standpoint. So, anyways, the steel guitar has always been one of my favorite instruments, and when I was naming it, I'm like, steel guitar has to be in the name. And when I was trying to make a logo, I actually ran into the problem of there's not many copyright free pictures of a steel guitar, so I had to put in, what I've put in. I like the logo, but it's just not a steel guitar, and that's a little disappointing. But the steel guitar, man, it is without the doubt the instrument that makes country music to me, and I respect the art of the steel guitar because, listen, guys, I've talked about it before. I cannot play a rhythm guitar. I can't play anything. I would be able to rock the triangle, man. I'd be like, if you've ever seen the SNL skit with Will Ferrell, with, was it Blue Oyster Cult singing Don't Fear the Reaper, and he's sitting there with the cowbell? That would be me. Of course, not rocking the crop top. I can't quite do it like Will Ferrell did, but that's quite the point. That would be me when it comes to instruments. I am not musically gifted in regards to my hands. Can't fiddle around. And I've always wanted to learn how to play the steel guitar. And that is one thing that I would actually have to sit down and learn about. And it's almost like a lost art. Just absolutely gifted individuals. They're amazing people, and they're keeping that tradition alive like we just talked about in America Remains. They are keeping it alive within the music by having that steel guitar, because that is I would say it's a dying art, especially the way that country music is slightly changing. By slightly, I mean drastically changing here in the last 20 years, 10 years. That is going to be gone if we don't continue the tradition of country music, or we don't teach people how to play the steel guitar, because eventually people will just not know how to play it. Because I've heard someone don't know how to play it, and then if we lose it, then boom, country music loses a core element of what it is. Now, of course, the steel guitar is not the only thing that makes country music what it is, but it's one of my favorite elements of country music musically, 100%. And I feel like all the people that play the steel guitar should be highly respected in this regard, because they are keeping that country music alive. And that is something that is difficult to do. Country music is not one of those things where you can sit down and be like, it has to have this, and this production value to be country music. No. It's got to have just a few elements. It's got to be musically, yes. It's got to be musically there. The true songwriting, it's got to be there. It's got to have one of those elements of the pillars, and that would go into the songwriting. And it's got to make you feel. And I've never really dug deep into how it feels, and what I mean by how it feels. And Josh actually excellently brought up this point when he was talking about the how he viewed country music, is it makes you feel like something. It will humor you. Like, for instance, Josh Morningstar, he sang a song, and it's literally called I Like Weed. at his concert, and it made the crowd erupt in laughter. That was making us feel something. We felt humor. We felt that grit. And then he would follow up with a song like Feeding the Flames, talking about that love, man. That love that he has for his wife or whoever he wrote the song for. I obviously would think it's for his wife because his wife is absolutely amazing. And, dude, and then he would sing a song like Wishing Well or These Birds. And you're sitting there like, oh, man. It's that roller coaster. It does make you feel. And that's one thing that I think country albums do so well in regards to that, is they make you feel the ups and the downs of life, which has that reflection of America in it as well. See, everything's coming all together. We got the reflection of America Remains with the pillars. It's all coming together in just this weird combobulation of my thoughts, and now just having this realization. And that's one cool thing that I have figured out, that if I talk to this magical white ball that has a microphone on it, and I talk to you guys, I learn more about country music talking about it as I'm thinking it. Because sometimes when I'm in here in this little coconut head of mine, I don't necessarily be like, country music's this, and this. I'm just like, I like country music. That's what I like. But when I actually get to talk about it and thinking about things like this stuff comes out of my head, and I'm like, you know what? That kind of sounds smart sometimes. Like, it's a good 20% smart, 80% I'm just like, doy. But the steel guitar does make me feel, and I feel like that is a very appropriate, a very phenomenal element of country music that gets overlooked. And there's so many songs, so many artists, so many people that just overlook the steel guitar. And I'm here to say that the steel guitar is by far my favorite instrument to hear. And if I ever learned how to play it, it would be my favorite to play. But there's no way that I could ever play the steel guitar. I could sit there and just buy one, try and attempt to play it for like 50 years of my life, and I might be able to play the D chord on a rhythm guitar by the time that I would be able to play the steel guitar anyways. So I'm basically hopeless when it comes to trying to play country music here. So big sad for me, big sad. I do have a voice. I can't sing real well, but I was in chorus back in like elementary school. So let's go. Back in my day, man, I could really sing with the best of them in elementary school, but I never consider myself a singer by any means. But that doesn't stop me from my karaoke sessions in the car by myself. And as people drive by, they look at me like, is this man on drugs or is he really mad? It's one of the two. It's obviously nothing else. So I appreciate you guys listening to this ramble. Like I said, this episode's going to be a little bit shorter. I just wanted to mention the steel guitar, and I will eventually sit down and learn more. And that's one thing that I do enjoy about, is I will take time to sit down and learn more about country music, and I'm able to teach it to you guys who may be able to teach it down to your family down the road. So yes, I am looking forward to looking into the steel guitar more. Also, I got the next discography deep dive coming in, and I don't know who it is. I'm going to willy-nilly, and you guys are going to be surprised. It's probably as much as I will whenever I choose who it is. So I hope you guys have a wonderful day. It's been your host, Cole. Make sure to check me out on all the socials, the email. Let me know how I'm doing. Leave that rating on the podcast on whatever platform you listen to. I'm on all of them. I'm also on YouTube. I got 1 subscriber on there, so that's sick. And I hope I will see you guys in another episode. Just take care of yourself and keep country music alive, baby. Adios, sayonara, goodbye.